Hi, I don't know what this is, but I wanted to talk. So let's talk. Russellbuddy presents episode 7. Let's go. Roll the intro. Don't have anybody to make one of those yet. Anyways, we're still here. Yeah, it's you know what? I guess I got some catching up to do because I know I normally like go, hey, Russellbuddy every week or whatever, and then it's like a month, and then sometimes it hits 2 months. Anyways, we did good. We dropped one 3 days ago. I thought, hey, let's do it again. Why not? I think this is why. Why not? How about why? Let's not do the why not. Let's do the why. This is the why. The why is because all that seems to get people's attention for the most part, or let's just say the most attention, is some is when we disagree with people, and I'm not into it. I was thinking like, what is the role? What do we come here? We go to social media to be inspired and then to get mad at stuff that we disagree with. I don't know. Um, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I want to talk about the stuff that's good, and the stuff that's good in my life. And maybe at some point we can start talking about the stuff that's good in your life. Who knows? Um, wow, I had a great week. It was a really great week. Hit my diet. I remember telling you guys I met Tommy Wishbone. Been talking to Tom, and yeah, if anyone's really known me, I've tried to set up here and there a accountability buddy is not really the right word, but I'll tell you, man, it's almost like um, but I have tried setting up accountability buddies with health. I've always thought, it'd be good to sort of share some of this stuff with, and I don't know. There's this fine line with like I don't want to post every meal I have to you guys on Instagram. In part because I don't think I'm not a great photographer. Like maybe if I had like a really cool, like one of those kitchens that's, got white in the background and gray marble, um, countertops, and those microwaves that can go in and out. I wonder if you guys know which one I'm talking about. I don't know, dude. My house is messy. You know what I mean? There's in any given moment there could be, you know, uh, left, extra seasoning spread all over the stove because I live in a house of messy people, and that all need glasses, including me. And I need glasses, and I have the best vision. I can actually see relatively well without my glasses. My other people in my family, they are blind, and they like to put the pepper and the salt as much out of the pan as they do in the pan. And I'm the stay-at-home husband. I'm the house husband, domestic dad, and I have to clean it up, and it's annoying. It's annoying. You women had a point, but that being said, it is my toll. But also here, how about the other point? It's my job. My job to pick up after my family. It's what I do. I don't cash a check anywhere else. My check is riding on the hard work of my wife, who has been the sole income provider for like 7 years now. So, uh, shut up, Russell. Do your job. Nobody cares. That's really what we're trying to say. Uh, clean up after your wife's salt and pepper on the stove. Just be grateful she even cooked. What is Rebecca even cooking for? I should cook for her all the time. I am the stay-at-home spouse. I do fully believe the stay-at-home spouses are fully responsible for cooking. I don't know. Maybe none of that's true. Are there even really many stay-at-home spouses these days? It doesn't seem like it. It's not easy unless someone is really raking the money in hand over fist and money is tight. We're kind of getting to that spot right now where, I mean, the kids are getting older. I mean, they don't go to the therapies that they used to go for their autism. They're not in and out of therapies. Like, man, you guys don't get what these families, us families, I'm one of us. I don't mean you people. I mean us. Go through. It's rough. It can be rough. It's and it's one of those things though, at least for our family, I really feel like that all that early behavior intervention made a huge difference, and it was well worth it. Uh But back to us. House is messy. And I don't feel like you guys want to see pictures. The same picture of my Traeger in my backyard. More steak. I had this is where I'm at, guys. I watched an incredible fight on the UFC last night with Andre Malkovich. Is it Malkovich? I'm pretty sure it's Malkovich. I'm not gonna switch to the thing. It just kills the flow. It distracts me. And I killed it, by the way. I killed the Traeger. Chuck eye and brats and rice. And we all had dinner last night. I had some chuck eye, I had some brats, and I had some rice last night. And it was delicious, man. It was delicious. No extra really anything beyond that. And it was a pretty modest serving of rice. I have really I just said I was going carnivore last week, but I had rice last night. Listen, if you had listen, I am carnivore when I don't have Andre, former 8-time world champion powerlifter, having dinner, watching the UFC with me. And Andre speaks Russian. And last time I hung out with Russian, with Andre, I'd say he doesn't speak English. But gosh darn it, man, he's starting to get a little bit. It was cool. Between him understanding a good part of what I was saying, me being able to ask who with Amazon, that little box in the corner of my room, if I say her name, she's going to get all nosy, how to say such and such and such and such. And then she would just say it, obviously, right? I mean, I really thought that statement through before I said it. Obviously, I asked her how to say it, and then she just says it. I mean, I felt kind of like an extra necessary data point when I said that, but the reality is it wasn't. But all that being said, do you know how many times last night I'm like, oh, dude, this would be a really good picture for the gram. Oh, I really, and I'm not going to be mad at Andre because he doesn't follow me back on Instagram, and he's had dinner at my house twice, and I've had dinner with him at friend's house a couple of times. I'm not going to be mad. He has a reputation. He has a reputation to uphold on his social media profile. And you know what? And honestly, I don't think he can read what I write down anyways. And yeah, sure, he follows mutual friends, but they're big shots and I'm not. And that's how it goes, isn't it? But needless to say, I really wanted to get a couple pics for the gram last night of me watching what was an incredible UFC with my friend, Andre, who's a nice man, a really nice man. And by the way, he's Russian here in America trying to make a way for himself with his family. And from what I can tell is getting completely quacked by this god-awful war in the Ukraine. Or I don't know if it's called a war yet or not. Well, it's a war in the Ukraine. Or I don't know if we're in the war or not. Yeah, that sucks, man. Can't get to what little money they have. Visas, I think, are getting stuck. None of my business to be sharing with you guys. I don't think that is, that's kind of public knowledge, right? I don't think I broke news on anything. Anyways, him and his wife, Yana, amazing people. Last night, though, I just went and picked up Andre, and we watched the UFC. The UFC was phenomenal. And I was thinking, my calories yesterday were pretty good, pretty clean calories. I didn't, in large part because I only had one meal. And when I say only had one meal, that's not true. I had a couple of protein shakes throughout the day. And when I mean a couple, I mean 3 or 4. But calorically, that just sort of put me in it. So it kind of I split out one meal's worth of calories over the day with protein shakes. And that helps me because I can get more protein for less calories. And, I'm trying to lose weight, all that stuff. But I thought, yeah, man, I wanted to take a picture. I killed it. I know, listen, Instagram influencers are often wealthy and they can afford ribeye. Ribeye is incredible. I love ribeye. But I have found a grocery store here in town that carries chuck eye and I went and I emptied the rack of chuck eye last night, and it was like $6.50 a pound, and it was tender and delicious. And I made probably 4 pounds of chuck eye on my Traeger and a couple pounds of brats last night, and I only had seconds twice, so on steak, and no seconds on rice, so that was good. Um, and yeah, and all that being said, this morning I went and I added up my calories because I think it's important for me to do that. I think I do better when I add up my calories. And it'd been a while since I texted Tom, and I sent him my summary, and it was great. And I also sent it to my I feel weird when I bring up Mark to you guys because I really feel like I don't want to sound like I'm just cockswinging, to be honest with you. But he's my friend, he's my mentor, whatever. I'm blessed. I'm privileged to know the Bell Bros. It's just the way it is. I'll have to get over it. I'm sure you guys don't even care. It's why a lot of you listen anyways, right? But yeah, I sent it to him and I was like, "Hey man, Mark, I know you're not into micromanaging your nutrition. I just feel like I need to do that right now." And he responded back, "Yeah, man, that's good." And I think that's kind of leads to like the whole find what works to you thing I was talking about find what works for you thing I was talking about last week. I think that's what works. I am telling myself no carbs, and then whatever leaks in the crack, or oh man, cracks that leak in the dam pop through. And last night was a great night. I do not intend to have carbs today. I've been tracking. I'm killing it today so far. I only skipped breakfast. I didn't skip lunch. I only skipped breakfast. And when I mean skip, I mean I had my coffee and protein shake because it's amazing. Which I would love to take a picture and show you, but as we had talked before, my house is messy because I have kids and I don't like to clean up at the rate that they are messy. It's a struggle. It's not super messy, you know what I mean? Not super messy, but not like take a picture of it. Or I don't know, maybe we do take a picture of it. Maybe we see, hey, look at all the seasoning that's on Russell's stove. Shouldn't he wipe it up? I do wipe it up. It's hard to get it all. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I sent the text message out. I sent it, and this is going to be cool. This is a new thing. I'm going to, and I've thought about doing this with you guys. I think I even have. But the problem is like not you watching me say this does this, but it's the other them that follow me that give bad advice and unsolicited advice. And I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it's too much fat. And I was like, shut up. Even if they were right, I don't want to hear it. I mean, I know that as actually is kind of what we do. It says comments. I could disable the comments if I didn't want to hear it, but and then it's just, I mean, I've seen people who their stories are filled with what they eat and their tracking, whatever. I'm not against it. It's just not for me for now. But again, getting back to it, which maybe this has been way too long to say it. It's been good. It felt good to say, hey, here's a week of here's my nutrition, here's my calories, and here's my macros as appropriate. And it was kind of nice because it was actually kind of nice. It was actually kind of nice to do it that way. It was actually kind of nice to do it that way because when you send the day and then it's vulnerable, it's more vulnerable. Like, Tom sends me like, he's down to the everything, down to the salt, down to the whatever sauce he may have had, the kind of meat he had, whatever, just everything. And I was like, wow, that's vulnerable. Like, like, and to send that out, and from what I know, that's who he sends out to everybody. And I guess it kind of speaks to the fact where he's like, hey, I am, as my brother and I talk about, I am sweat proof. He's like, I'm sweat proof. This is clean. But and also, if anyone, if anyone who I'm sending this to sees something that I could improve on, uh, you know, hit me back with it. Go, hey man, I think as Tom said, you're hitting one too many of that, bread that you had. Cut back on the bread, swap it out for an egg. You'd be better off. But because I did the macro and the calorie for the whole week, day by day, and it had a nice little summary on the MyFitnessPal. It felt good to send that out, and then like in everything else, I'm already looking forward to sending it out again. And it's already in my head. I'm going to send it out again. And today, uh, like today, I've had 2 protein shakes, 3. And I've had, this is pretty big, right? I've had a half pound of ground beef. I've had 2 eggs, and I've had a half pound of chuck-eye. And I actually had that all together, just so you know. And I put a tablespoon of A1 steak sauce on top of that, and extra salt, some garlic. Man, delicious. Absolutely delicious. The calories aren't out of control. The calories, I'm a little over half my calories for the day to go, but that's perfect, just come in good at night. Tonight I will be making, I think I first heard it from Chris. When you take some sugar-free pudding and some protein powder and blend it together, make almost like a souffle. I don't know if that's right, but anyways, chocolate pudding, sugar-free chocolate pudding, and I bought some chocolate steak shake today at the gym, and my macros I'm going to kill. I'm going to be very, very low on carbs today. Pretty modest on protein, or pretty modest on fat today, and I'm going to be heavy, really heavy on the protein today, which will be great. And it's been delicious and not that expensive. I mean, like I think I was saying to you, that chuck-eye we spent like $6.50 a pound. Wow, that's a bargain. Eggs aren't bad. Ground beef is, I think, as cheap as you can go for beef and have it be value. I don't, until you start going into like hot dogs and bologna and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a win. And also, I guess what was really bringing me leading me to want to record was just feeling good about taking my boy to the gym today. Um, I don't know if anyone knows my Instagram. I put a post on yesterday about somebody had posted this kid on the beach, and he it would look like a beautiful day. It was a nice sunny day. The kid was getting some sun. He was on the beach. He was facing the ocean, and he was in VR goggles, just sitting there. And the whole meme was like, I'm going full circle. I started this by saying I don't want to talk shit. I'm not talking shit. Okay, this is my point. Just stick with me. The meme wasn't really a meme, I guess, because it wasn't funny. It was more of like the cynical commentary. The important discussion is one of the commentors said beneath, in a retort to accusations of this being a mean post. It was a kid, sitting in VR goggles, just sitting at the beach, and the post said, "Hey, it's worse than we realize." Um, and then this guy put in there, maybe Team Thanos was right, kill half the universe to restore balance. Now, been thinking about this. I've been trying to poke holes in my own opinion and my own emotions. As I told a friend yesterday, I am endeavoring to be as disconnected as possible from any intended or unintended maliciousness. How about that, huh? How about that? How about that for a guy that's been listening to people try to sound smart for a couple decades? Uh, it's weird, right? Like this kid was chunky, okay? And he was young. He was, I don't know, 8, chunky 8 years old. Uh, there's a real commentary. It's worse than we realize. There's real commentary that this could just be talking about the fact that we're all slowly plugging into the matrix, right? The whole, as a gamer, right? Which you may or may not be a gamer. As a gamer, uh, I find the level of entertainment and enjoyment of gaming often uh, beats the real world. As a father, it's something I battle with all the time. I mean, you guys, I post in said post, I was talking about the struggles to negotiate without, okay, so right, to negotiate without it becoming like, of course, I can negotiate with my child how to get him to take a break from the game. And yes, I mean, of course. Okay, let's just hit this. This is hitting. This is important. Okay, so I went to the gym yesterday morning. Went to the gym and knew that Andre, world champion powerlifter, 8-time world record holder, great guy, personal friend of mine. Um, famous, yo. I was waiting to say that. Uh, I went to the gym, had a good workout, and then went to the grocery store yesterday. Crushed my steps yesterday, by the way. 12,000 feet hurt today, especially because I was walkie today too. Um, um, feet and knees hurt, but that's because of me trying to be Fred Astaire or football, relive my football years. You know. Um, I go to the gym, I go to the grocery store, I come home, it's around 10:30, I think. 10:30, 11:30, something like that. I could tell my youngest he looked like he hadn't done anything but play Fall Guys all morning. He's a beast, by the way. He's an absolute beast at Fall Guys. Um, and I asked him to take a break, and he looks at me and he goes, how about 5 minutes? And I mean, A, touche for him learning to negotiate strong. And B, to the parents that say, well, just make him. Like, yeah, I mean, of course I can just make him. I have just made him do things repeatedly the entirety of his life. But, as your kids get older, there's an evolution to parenting. It turns more into um, just make him because he doesn't know any better and you do, take a bath, go to bed, eat your, this or that. Don't touch that. That's hot. Don't run from me in parking lots, right? That's just make them. They're young and they don't know any better. As they get older, you want to evolve with them and start to reach them through reason, right? And if you're, I mean, if you have an 8 and a 9-year-old and you have a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old and you're still operating on the just make them principle, like, I mean, that's such like, I mean, like, no offense, but that's such like a arrogant dumb guy response. It really is. And I'm not trying to, hey man, I mean, are not arrogant, ignorant. And dumb guy, like, I'm not saying you're not smart. I mean, you're smart. Um, but you're not smart in this, hence the ignorant, right? Like, you don't want to just be, forcing them like you're a coach calling in plays the entirety of their adolescence. Because uh B, I mean, A, if you do that too much, they're gonna start resenting you and beyond healthy limitations. And B, you haven't made a compelling case for them. You haven't really taught them anything, right? You haven't taught them anything. They don't, they're still not bought in to your system of whatever it is, right? They're still not bought into it. They are still willfully disobedient because they don't believe in what you're saying. They don't believe going to bed is good for them, you know? And again, yeah, right. At some age, I mean, obviously, but then again, at some age, obviously not. You got to have your kid learn. Otherwise, you have, you know, otherwise you have these, you know, kids that their parents never let them do anything. Their parents never let them have any experiences. Parents never let them develop their relational skills. And then they go to college and they're completely unprepared and get, you know, it gets trampled on. Or they go to college and they're completely unprepared and they just go wild. And, you know, problems come that way too, right? Like, as a parent, I'm trying to go more than just, uh, you know, because I fucking said so. I mean, because I quacking said so. Sorry. And, you know, you don't want to break their will, right? I mean, yeah, obviously, like, I tell my kid what to do at all times, but that's not really what's best for him. I know that kind of feels like that's what's best for him when you're on the outside looking in. The better thing to do is to win them over to it. So, and also, I mean, when someone's mad in the family, it kills the vibe. I don't want to kill the vibe. Not to say that I'm completely trapped by that worry, because I'm not. I'm not completely trapped by that worry at all. But it does kill the vibe. Kills your joy. I mean, kills your own personal joy because you have to now battle, right? Yeah, I mean, it's you don't in parenting. I'm trying to evolve. I'm trying to or help my kids evolve, grow, learn, right? Um, so fast forwarding, I told my kid, you know, hey, why don't you, you know, take a shower and then take a break. He made it about 30 minutes, right? And then 30 minutes, about 30 minutes later, he comes to me again. I'm cleaning the trailer, getting ready for, you know, my friend, world famous, world record holder Andre, last name, and to come up. I mean, we're like such good friends. I don't even worry about his last name. He's just Andre to me, you know. And I was like, well, why don't you do 20 burpees and then 5 minutes and then, you know, or 20 burpees, drink some water, and then go play Fall Guys. He was like he was like bet. You know what I mean? And not really metaphorically, he was like bet. I learned that word. Thanks, Rolly. And I mean, yeah, of course, I fucking won. I mean, I fucking won. I'm a great fucking dad. We all, you know, I mean, you know, sometimes at least. I cussed. But back to the kid, right? Back to the kid on the beach. You know, Team Thanos was right. And it, you know, and I was sitting here this morning, coming back, and I was sitting here this morning thinking, like, you know, what if this guy's commentary had nothing to do with this kid's BMI? What if this kid's BMI had zero to do? What if it was just a commentary that we're all slowly plugging into the matrix? We're all, you know, slowly turning into Wally. I mean, maybe the BMI is a tragic consequence of that, but maybe that wasn't really his despair. Maybe his despair came from the fact that we're all not living life to our fullest existence, and we're all trading it in for, you know, literally, you know, Ready Player One. And it was, so there was just a thought. Like, I mean, my whole getting triggered on this kid being mocked, which I still think the kid was being mocked. I do believe that the weight has something to do. I don't necessarily think if the kid was super skinny, exact same picture, exact same situation, that would have happened. But honestly, that's maybe I'm 100% wrong in that. But either way, the kid was being mocked, and it hit too close to home, and I didn't like that a fat kid was being mocked by someone who I for someone I don't know, I basically respect. And that's kind of the point I'm getting to. I basically respect this guy. I do basically respect this guy. And it led me to have a conversation with my buddy, I'm bringing up this greater point that I see, and that the point really wasn't about that guy's offense, because it really wasn't the worst one. I'm bringing up this greater point that I see, that I mean, lessons, observations from your buddy from this experience yesterday. One, I how do I say this right? Okay, so one, this guy has a history of educating, informing, and sending out goodwill and helping people achieve better health. He clearly wants to help the world be a healthier place. He clearly has a compassion for other people, and I'm a fan of the guy. So maybe if he got a little rough on this kid, I'm not trying to make it feel like I think that the guy's a corrupt, worthless human. Nor am I obsessing about it. I mean, I've given it some consideration since then, which I think it's deserved, considering it was pretty important for me to bring up and talk to some friends and make a post that I thought was, well written, for me. And two, I guess I am saying, I guess I'm really trying to, I guess I was triggered by that, but what's triggering by that is a bigger problem I see a bigger problem going on right now. I'm going to attempt to describe what I called to a friend a cultural phenomenon. I think, as a fat guy, as an almost lifelong fat guy, of my 47 years in existence, I've probably not been fat 6. Couple when I was young, and a couple when I was in the Army. Okay. I was always one of those, fatter guys that could move around pretty good, but I've never been skinny or lean. I've been lean a couple years when I was young, and I've been lean like a year in the Army, if that. Domino's delivers to barracks, kids. So that's my point. I'm well versed in being fat. I've been called fat since I was a kid. I'm not I I'm not unaware I'm fat. I'm not happy that I'm fat. I guess maybe I've been unable to correctly manage my calorie consumption, and have dealt with the consequences where my body BMI has gotten so big that my joints could no longer handle it. My joints could no longer carry my weight in a healthy manner. Much like the Wally people, they become wheelchair bound. I mean, I was a part of the reason why yesterday was so good was, as I was coming back from getting my groceries, I was like, I parked in the back of the parking lot. This was after I walked a bunch at the gym. I went and walked and got groceries, and I mean, like, my movement is coming back. I'm feeling good. I guess I'm really trying to say, like, what I'm really trying to get to, what I'm really trying to compel you guys to understand is, A, I understand what it's like to be a lifelong fatty. B, I do find it hurtful when people mock obese people, young and old, and see that certainly doesn't mean I think that this new woke fat acceptance thing is a good idea. I think it's a horrible idea. I think it's the worst idea. I think it's horrible, awful, awful, awful. Like, yes, don't be mean to fat people. I got mad at somebody yesterday because it seemed like they were being mean to fat people. In this meme of a kid, if you can call it memeing, the fat shame term is the new in vogue phrase, which I addressed in my Instagram post. I got I mean, is the word that the people use these days triggered? I was triggered by it to the point of but more than just being triggered, it wasn't necessarily triggered by that instance, because that instant was relatively mild compared to other stuff I could go grab and show you, which I won't, because of the larger thing. I don't want to be somebody that gets attention by throwing other people under the bus. I don't. Is that a subtle jab at those that do? Maybe. But even if it is a subtle jab at those that do, I clearly admire the greater good of the work that they put into the world. I don't believe in fat shaming, but I also certainly, even more so, don't believe in fat acceptance as defined by the leaders of the fat acceptance movement. To pretend it's not a problem, to ignore it at all costs, to assert being less fatter is fat phobic, which, as a friend of mine stated, as Chris told me, using the whole anything phobic term when it just means you don't, they are insinuating you don't like them is ridiculous. I'm not listen, if you're heavy and you're overweight, I would encourage you to try to get lighter and not be overweight. As speaking as someone who's in their late 40s, I tell you, the knee pain, the ankle pain, the back pain, the inability to travel, the inability to participate in functions with your friends and family really sucks. And to expect them to make more than minor accommodations for you is unreasonable, is a general statement. Obviously, there are going to be situations and individuals that fall outside of the rational parameters, but I think we should have compassion. First of all, we shouldn't define somebody solely based off of their BMI. This, the whole concept of fat shaming to begin with, attacking people's character, attacking people's work ethic, attacking people's drive and will, the insults, people are much more than their BMI, right? But also probably to some degree, BMI in some ways plays a role in some aspects of people's character. I would think. I mean, we're not afraid to say if we do take the addicts angle, which I think most fat people now like to lean in on because it seems to be based in science, right? Isn't that what we're all talking about? Science. The addictive drive to eat these unhealthy foods based on the whole thing that made me so sad about that kid. The kid is most likely being raised, the nurture, the environmental reinforcement of how to live an unhealthy lifestyle and being raised living an unhealthy lifestyle. Man, it makes it near impossible to pull out of the it makes it near impossible to pull out of the lifestyle of obesity It really does. It's hard if you find yourself obese and you've been obese for more than any reasonable length of time. If your obesity began in your childhood, it is very cooked into your existence. It is very hard to pull out. And if you could be like kind of like a guy I was, or like women I've known, or other men I've known, where you try to exercise, you get movement, but at the end of the day, whether it's through some hormonal issues or just through or emotional issues, you have a tendency to eat too many calories habitually, and it's hard for you to adjust from that. Man, it's a hard fix. I know I'm in it. I'm trying to fix it. Yeah, that's a problem. That doesn't mean, though, it doesn't mean that we should completely assassinate someone's character for it. I don't think it means we should mock someone and shame them for it. This whole idea of shaming, you're bettering someone. It is half-cocked. It is lunacy. It is I think it's just a mean person trying to enjoy being mean in a lot of degrees. But also at the same time, though, I think it's a backlash. It's a big backlash against this fat acceptance movement. Fat acceptance is telling people to not have any discrepancies, not have any opinions about somebody's obesity, and if you do, then you're a mean, awful person. I don't, and if you, and also to the point of, if you tell them to try to lose weight, you're being mean. Obviously, I mean, that can be done in some mean manners, but to just blanket statement that all efforts to help someone get healthier and lose body fat is mean, or hate speech of some sort, I think that's ridiculous. So I think there are some individuals out there that are fighting back against that. They're saying, no, you're not going to normalize obesity. No, even if it's normal. You know what I mean? It's normal to see obese people, but that doesn't mean it should be normalized. And I think that there's, I would say, some character flaws or some character weaknesses, kind of bubbling through in that. I know that this message to compel people to lose weight can be delivered respectfully. I know it can be. I've seen it done. I've seen it done many times. I've attempted to do it a couple of times. And I understand that it's an irrational take to tell the world to pretend that fat people aren't fat, and to pretend that fat people are not less likely to experience health issues or, lifestyle issues that are depressing, from their obesity. That, of course, I agree with you. It's irrational. The fact that there is people out there trying to propagate that is ridiculous. But if you in your debating that crazy notion, implement rudeness and meanness, towards obesity in general, you're not just hitting the conveyor of this ridiculous notion. You're hitting everybody. Everybody sees it. Everybody sees you, everybody sees you having fat face and laughing at it, right? I still remember the first time I saw someone do that. It was years ago. It was some fat face app, and some friends I used to go to church with were posting it, So don't think you know who I'm talking about. I've seen that trick before. It's not new. That's rude, man. That's rude. That's kind of mean. I believe you have the right to be mean. I believe that in America you have the right to be rude. I just think you should not have. And and if you're trying to help obese people lose weight, you're not going about it the right way. What are you talking about? I've got this, that, and this and that. Okay, sure. Some people have worked, and I've had people tell me, that their uncle or their cousin or their best friend, called them fat, and it made them look in the mirror. And I've heard people talk of, their aunties. Oh, you're getting fat. I've had close family members say, their coworkers will say, oh, you're getting too heavy. Some are another culture, some are people of other cultures. I almost tried to do an impression of another culture. It would have been bad. I'm glad I didn't. Some are just, over opinionated, family members or friends. Like, look, I get it. Like, I'm not telling you shouldn't be. I'm not telling you don't have a right to say your mind or anything like that. But I am saying you recognize you're being mean, and recognize I think for the vast majority of people, they already knew that they were fat, so you shaming them is only going to make them further, fall back into and if anything, start finding resentment towards you, and probably, probably throw out your sound advice because they don't like the way it's being delivered. Which, by the way, I mean, don't we all feel like that about everybody right now? I can almost, I don't know. God, I wish I was a little more organized going into this. Maybe next time I'll take notes. Uh, yeah, that's a long way to get to the point of me saying, you know, I understand. I think I kind of get why you're being mean. I agree with you in the larger picture. America would be a better place if we were a little skinnier, or a lot skinnier, as case by case basis. It is ridiculous that there is a cultural movement to normalize obesity. But when you mock obese people, you're ushering back in some really uncomfortable cultural norms. Like, I I've been called lard ass. I remember being called lard ass when I was in elementary school on the school bus, or middle school. You know, the boom chagalaga, right? From what is that? Is that Stand By Me? I don't know. Maybe. Um, God, man, those were horrible years. They crushed my self worth. They did make me think that's all I was as a person, and not someone else who's, you know, whatever good you may or may not see in me. Like, don't do that. Don't be mean. Don't be mean. You're not going to reach people. You're going to hurt people. Be inspiring. And I get it. Probably people are coming after you because they don't like your shine. They would rather live in denial and accept. And I guess, let me say to those people, what are you doing? Let me say to those people, what are you doing? Don't try to normalize obesity. That's not a good idea. You're saying your life is great. What is being fat got to do with any of it? Okay, well, you're probably young. I don't, your body hasn't broken yet. It's going too soon if you don't change your behaviors. Look at the kids now with the diabetes. Look at the kids. The kids. I mean, like, it's creeping in. Maybe because you, person who's opinionated and wants to, throw it out there, you can still get around good, being heavy. Maybe you can still, do jumping jacks or whatever, make a hit song, write a good movie. I don't know. Like, tell a good speech. Maybe you still are existing in a pretty, you know, comfortable manner, other than having to run, right? I'm telling you, it gets worse. I'm telling you, it's going to get worse for you soon, much sooner than you wish it would, because you're too heavy. Your knees and joints and ankles don't like it. Your organs are choking on your messed up blood chemistry. I know that sucks. I'm living that. I'm fighting like hell right now to break my addictive behavior to overeating and eating the wrong food. Um, to deal with that. I don't think, and this is the sad side, right? It's like I think our just like every other stupid thing in our culture right now, we're getting divided and split to the extremes. We can all agree on this one as people. Well, no matter your age, or gender, or political affiliation, or pronoun, so many things right now to argue over. Let's not argue over this one. Let's all try to be a little less fatter. It's great. It's fucking great. I was able to walk to the grocery store and back yesterday after a long workout and still had some gas in the knees and ankles and arches of my feet to get there. I wasn't holding back exertion at the checkout line. There wasn't sweat going down the back of my back. I wasn't, trying to low key catch my breath in front of people as I'm sitting there, having them judge what's in my grocery cart, and to also other people, like people I love and admire. Like I was at someone's page just the other day and they were making fun of people wearing masks and having Cheetos in their grocery cart. Like, I mean, I get it, dude. Maybe we need to point out the irony and the absurdity of some of this, and that's pretty subtle, really. I mean, I'm not saying that we should never say anything. I'm just saying this. Let's not go too deep on the fat shaming thing. Let's please. I feel like it's going to get worse. I don't want it to become in vogue to be mean to fat people again. But fat people also, we need to accept. We need to try to lose some weight. And if I just can't, is your final conclusion, I mean, you could. You just haven't found the strength to do it yet. I'm not mad at you for it. I get it. And also, too, maybe it may be near impossible strength because, as I've tried saying too, some of this stuff is baked in deep. But you could do it. It is within you to do it. Find the people that have. Find the gourmet goes ketos. Find those people. Find the Get Fit with Jesses. Find those people. Follow the teachings of the experts. Follow the Mark Bells, the Chris Bells. Learn how to fix your knees with knees over toes. Listen to the podcast like Power Project. There's good information out there. There are people out there that will treat you with dignity and help you get there. I go to Mark's gym now. It's amazing, dude. We got people training for power meets, and we got obese people like me just trying to, lose 100 pounds. Just lose 100 pounds. No big deal, if not more. And some of us are doing it and some of us aren't. I've been a little stagnant. I'm feeling renewed. I'm feeling refocused. As I was saying earlier before, sending my weekly totals to a mentor and a friend who I look up to. Yeah, this stuff is possible. So I don't know. What's my point? I rarely have a point, kids. My point is, A, don't judge the whole of somebody by one flaw you see in their character. That goes for everybody, right? People are more than just the one flaw you can poke out in them. Most everybody has an enormous amount of good and wonderful qualities about them. And B, don't get trapped into the society of these people yanking you to the extreme of one opinion or the other, and have the courage to say, no, I'm willing for both groups to ostracize me. I'm willing for the fat shamers that are openly pro fat shaming to think I'm ridiculous, and especially me being a fatty, think I'm just a fatty looking for excuses. And I'm open to the fat acceptance crowd for the way, I mean, I don't look forward to either of it. I don't want either of it. I'm not inviting or asking for either of it, but I will stand up and be a voice of reason for this. I will die on this hill. Not a lot of hills I'm willing to die on, whether I do or don't agree with it. We should all be able to speak our mind. Free speech is important. There's many other constitutional things I'm willing to argue and fight for too, but this one though, just like, let's be rational. Be nice to fat people. Offer to help them be less fat. Fat people, if you can find the strength within you, which it's there, try to get less fat. Try to get healthier. You know, that's all I'm trying to say. I not the most articulate distribution of such message, but that's my message. And I guess that's what I wanted to sit down and say. All right, bye. Kisses. Bye, bye, bye.